Hi, I'm Dr. Marianne Zentron, founder of Step-by-Step Dyslexia Solutions. I come to you with my PowerPoint to back up and support the research of what I use to help kids read using music. I'm so excited. I know people are using many other tools to help kids read, but I believe in the structured literacy program, and I believe in the Orton-Gillingham model, which provides that multisensory component. I want to show you this rock, which is really dear to me. I know when the kids were young and in elementary school, they collected rocks. And I just love this because on the inside, we see such beauty. And it reminds me of the beauty within all of us, that other people might not see it. We may be a diamond in the rough. And a lot of times our dyslexic children are not recognized for their gifts, but inside there's such beauty. I love this one. Whoever would have imagined from the outside of that rock that there was such beauty in it? I'm going to share my PowerPoint with you. And this is what I share with the teachers that I'm training. Let me get to it. In this day of Zoom meetings, we're doing a lot of sharing. Oh, where is it? Here we go. And I'm going to put it in this mode. Back in October of 2015, Assembly Bill AB 1369 in California was signed by Governor George Brown, and it became Ed Code across the nation, Ed Code 56335. All the states across the nation were talking about dyslexia intervention, and our state mandated that the schools would assess for dyslexia and provide intervention by the 2017-18 school year, and that has not been done. In fact, the scores are dropping. The National Association of Educational Progress looked at the scores of students and found that the scores are dropping. If 240 is the national assessment norm, you can see the scores are dropping. In 2019, the 8th graders have dropped 3% since 2017, and the 4th graders have dropped 1%. And while it might not seem like a big percentage drop, we're just going in the wrong direction, folks. We need to go up. Proficiency in our nation is a C or a C minus. Have you ever received a C minus in a class and you struggled because there was a progression to that class? Now, on the other hand, have you ever received a C minus in a class and you're so glad to be done with it? You never wanted to hear that topic again. Well, C minuses are not great. They get you through, or you struggle if you move on with the same content. So if our kids are barely getting by in reading and they're being moved on, that means their teachers are working extra hard to get them passing. Here are the scores. 4th graders down 1%. 8th graders dropped 3 points. Okay, so we are going in the wrong direction. This is Dr. Roger Sperry, who did the research on the right and left angular gyrus back in the 1960s. And you know, he won a Nobel Prize in the 1980s for his split brain research. And the reading program that I was introduced to 15, 18 years ago was based on his theory that the left and the right sides of the brain could work independently or in concert. And imagine if you put music in the left ear, it crosses to the right side of the brain, giving it a job it likes to do, so that you can send spelling exercises and phonics in the right ear, and it's going to cross to the left side of the brain, strengthening the left side of the brain like Pilates of the brain. So that's why the research from his split brain theory is so popular and valuable, and his contemporary, who is Dr. Gazzaniga, is very supportive of this research, talking about the left and right angular gyrus and strengthening the left side of the brain for language. So the Nobel Prize he won was on his split brain theory, when he actually split the corpus callosum on seizure patients. The seizures stopped and he could work with the left and the right sides of the brain independently, and the people could still function. This is the chart that I found with my doctorate program. Kids entered my reading program in the 10 to 20 percentile range, which is far below basic. Half the students did not use music and the other half did use music. Those not using music achieved the 40 percentile after only 12 weeks. And those who did use music achieved the 60 percentile range, which is just barely under proficient. And that's only 12 weeks. So I was getting similar results after 6 weeks. But for the 2 internal review boards, they required 12 weeks. This table shows the scores of students who made some improvement using the music. All of these students used music while we were teaching them reading. I worked with 2nd graders, 3rd graders, 4th graders, 5th graders, all the way through high school. We measured comprehension scores, and we mentioned oral reading quotients, which takes in reading fluency in combination with comprehension. And these were the improvements. 2nd graders, kids, one student made 50% increase after 6 weeks. One student who was a 2nd grader made 12%. Another made 34%. Another made 47%. Another made 90% increase in improvement in comprehension. Look at the 10th grader. This was someone I worked with myself. She made 34% increase in her reading comprehension in 6 weeks. And when I say 6 weeks, I'm working with students 4 or 5 days a week. She made 37% increase in her reading fluency. So that's the speed of which she's reading and the accuracy, and it combines it with comprehension. So what I did was I trained about 15 interns and substitute teachers, and we worked in low-income districts in this area, and that included 2nd language learners. This is a book I wrote. It lists about 15 case studies of students I worked with, some with music and some before I learned about the music, but it's a message of hope. And it should be in the hands of every parent, every child, every parent of a dyslexic child, every educator, and it's right here. It is filled with easy to read stories and my scientific references, over 50 of them. And it talks about the left side of the brain being the language center and how music is very beneficial. You know, the brain is trained to see what's going to be at the next step. And when music is being played, it just is very helpful in that process. So I also developed the music app. It has music in the left ear and spelling exercises in the right ear. It's called Dunking Dyslexia, and you can find it on my website, or you can just go on Android or iOS. This came out April 14th, which was my mom's birthday. And I have no control over the dates, and I really believe God's involved with the publishing of the dates and me hearing about dyslexia. Anyway, this is a fun app, very affordable. And my new curriculum, which came out also April of last year, it's multisensory, explicit, structured, systematic, sequential. All of this important for learning. It takes about 60 minutes a day, and I recommend 4 hours a week. And it's got to be one-on-one. So we have a teacher guide, which has a lot of content, mini lessons, which are a lot of content, Blackline Masters, which teachers can copy pages for their students. We have a junior workbook for 4th grade and under. And we have the senior workbooks. And you can determine if you want, like I was having the 4th graders that I worked with, working with the senior workbooks, and it was great. So maybe the junior workbook, first, second, 3rd graders. So what are the challenges? There's lack of affordable resources for students with dyslexia, lack of trained educators to best serve the population, limited budgets for professional development, misunderstanding how to best help dyslexic children, and the lack of qualified special education teachers. And what are the solutions? Affordable research, step-by-step reading, research-based methods must be taught with fidelity, an effective 8-hour training that I offer now online, and then to partner with after-school programs, because this is separated from the school district with the unions, and we can pay a tutor something more affordable than what we could pay a teacher to work with students. And the kids after school, many of them have their parents working, and they're the struggling students. So our mission, as a nonprofit, my vision is to provide scholarships to teachers to help them work with dyslexic students so those students can improve their literacy skills, realize their full potentials, and positively give back to their communities. So how would a society be different if all the students with dyslexia could receive early intervention? Again, please reach out to me. Take a look at my podcast, and the information is here. I want to thank you. I'm Dr. Marianne Cintron. Thank you for listening, and I hope you connect with me soon. Bye-bye now. Actually, I'll quit sharing, and I will say goodbye from my office. And I thank you for tuning in today. Please reach out. Gosh, I want to help teachers across the nation, around the world. And I really have a passion to help stop the school to prison pipeline. I just want to end with the thought that in California, prison inmates are bringing in $42,000 for our prisons. Special ed kids bring twice as much money to their school district as general ed kids. General ed kids in California bring in $13,000. So that's $26,000 that special ed kids bring their school districts. So imagine the savings of our taxpayer dollars, and what a better use of our taxpayer dollars, and how much we can give a gift of reading to the kids in elementary school, save their self-esteem, help them realize their full potential, and let them be all that God wants them to be. So I hope you reach out to me. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye. And I'm gonna